Hey guys, as you can already tell, I think I put like 2 or 3 fucking prefaces for this video. There's a lot of stuff like I had to talk about in this video, but real quick, this video is like a whole hour. This chapter was amazing. Just want to say it right off the bat. This chapter was fucking amazing. There's so much to discuss. I was thinking about making a separate video with theories and going over what we read about the last chapters or all these chapters recently in like the last year, but I just wanted to consolidate everything into one huge video. So I hope that's not an issue for you guys and you don't mind like watching a whole hour video, and it's not really separated into like a theory and a review. It's kind of like a mix of both. So yeah, that's why it's so long. It's a review, then I have a bunch of theories and like things you remember from all the other chapters. But yeah. Hey guys, if you didn't know, Nya hosted a stream, like a little stream podcast with me, Mark, and Lizard, and we talked about Tower of God, and not just what's going on in Tower of God, but like things like how we got introduced to the story, our favorite characters, and even things like from a long time ago, like the white fight, like the bomb versus white fight, and just a lot of Tower of God general stuff. So if you guys didn't know, I'm gonna put a link like in this video and in the description if you want to check it out. It was really fun. Thank you again, Nya, for hosting that stream and inviting me over. It was a lot of fun. But without further ado, let me get into my initial review with I shouldn't say review, like my initial thoughts of this whole chapter, and then I'll get into the main review afterwards. So it seems like the flashbacks are already ending, and this has to be the most insane chapter so far from all these flashbacks we've seen. I just got done reading the raws and like a little bit of the summary for the chapter. I haven't even read the translations because they're not out yet, but I really just had to get my thoughts out like immediately because I'm just so shocked with what happened here. But I will leave my full thoughts when I read the translations because there's more context and more details. But for my initial thoughts, Traumerei is fucking crazy. What is wrong with this guy? This guy is like the most master manipulator in this whole series next to Jihad. Like I've never seen someone scheme so hard before besides him, Jihad, and Headon. These guys are fucking insane. This chapter is full of insane revelations, and Traumerei might not be as innocent as he looks if all of this seems to be true. I mean, really, you can't tell who's telling the truth, who's lying. You kind of gotta like stick with your gut and go with the context clues and put things together. I mean, that's the beauty of Tower of God. Nothing is black and white. There's always some gray in there. It's not like just flat out cut dry. You have to actually think about this, make theories, and put things together. Alright guys, so I just finished reading the translations and I'm ready to discuss this to its fullest. So we carry on from last chapter where Edhun, he just flies in and he just sees everything. He sees Traumerei standing there, Enkidu standing there with the blood in his hands and the sword in his hands. Like he knows what happened. Like he can already tell that like Enkidu is responsible for killing Amyus, and Edhun is shocked. He's very shocked and displeased to see this, and he automatically like wants to attack Enkidu and kill him. But first he like gives him a chance to explain himself. But before Enkidu can say anything, Traumerei slices his head off. When Traumerei does this, he has like a very blank expression, and Edhun and Enkidu, I mean, they're just like their expressions are kind of similar. But Traumerei uses Enkidu's sword to behead him, and I guess this is not a Nichiren sword, so Enkidu doesn't die. This scene ends, and we get into the next scene where we see this figure in like this investigator suit. He has like a hat. Well, I think it's a she, because I mean, at the very end, she has like high heels and shit. So it's like this person is like in this coat and this hat. And this is the same person we saw like at the party. They were just standing next to a corner. I guess they were like infiltrating. So it looks like Luzlik did come with a plan and with other people that were already there, like ready to infiltrate this. So Luzlik did not just come in here all reckless. This was actually all pre-planned. So yeah, this person is here and she is looking at all of Traumerei's animals that he collected, or I shouldn't say animals, I guess his hybrids or experiments. So I'm thinking this is what Amyus was referring to when she said that she knows what Traumerei and Jihad are doing behind the scenes. So I mean, obviously this is very unethical. Traumerei is experimenting with some of these creatures. What I'm thinking, I think Naya or Mark said in the stream that like they might be collecting these powerless regulars and experimenting with them, breeding them, doing all sorts of fucked up shit. And that's what I'm thinking as well. Like after seeing this, it's pretty clear that Traumerei, he doesn't give a shit. I mean, he did breed Laura with the sea snake to make Shilial. Like this guy's moral compass is off the charts. So, I mean, doing this is not unethical for him at all. We get a close-up of one of the subjects in Traumerei's testing tube, and it's like this creature in a humanoid body with like tentacles coming out of its head, and I think more tentacles coming from behind its back. It looks like really fucking weird, like an abomination. So Traumerei is obviously experimenting here. He's testing things. He's like playing around with shit, seeing what he can make. And even this person, she calls Traumerei not normal. She says, as expected, Traumerei, he's not normal after all. So, I mean, kind of switches third person, second person here. But I'm pretty sure they're referring to Traumerei not being normal, which, I mean, I don't blame them. Traumerei is weird as fucking shit. And, I mean, they quickly learn that Luzlik is, like, still stuck. I don't know how Luzlik's gonna escape. Maybe he's kept prisoner because he knows what's going on with V. But we do know he does, because, I mean, he's here in the present. So, maybe that's how he got a scar, by trying to escape the family leaders. So, yeah, Luzlik is still trapped in there, because as soon as they receive word that something went wrong, this lady escapes, and they use a commotion to get out of this fucking palace. So for some reason, Enkidu is a demon, and his head is like decapitated, and he's not dead, so he's preserved in his little cube. And I mean, I guess this is how we got the present Enkidu. Like, his main body is gone permanently, and his head is now like stuck in this gelatin cube, and that's just his body now. So obviously we see it get deformed and all sorts of messed up later on. I guess, I don't know, he just ages and he becomes all fucked up, because I mean, the Enkidu we see in the past is not what we see in the present. This dude like aged or degraded something, and all the family leaders, they're like mourning. And we also see another lady here with red hair. I got no idea who the fuck this is. Maybe it's another person that climbed the tower with them. I don't know, maybe it's Hua Yun's mother. I have no idea who the fuck this person with red hair is. She's just there. It might be another person like the guy with all the eyes. We never got a name for him or anything. So yeah, it might just be one of their companions. So we specifically get a close-up of Li Rang, and she is obviously very upset. I mean, she was just like hugging Amy Hughes the other night, and now she's dead. So yeah, Amy Hughes 100% dead. She is fucking dead. And well, it says they tried using all their powers to bring Amy Hughes back, but of course they cannot break the barrier between life and death. So I mean, not even Bomb could fully break that. He breached it a little bit, but that was just because that lady, I think it was Arya with the strong legs, that was only because she had like a condition with her spirit not leaving right away. So Bomb was able to bridge that a little bit, but not 100%. So yeah, that's pretty impressive. I mean, considering that these are full-grown family leaders, that, I mean, you can see the magical stuff they're gonna do later on in this chapter, like literally make a whole fucking vine, infinite water, infinite sunlight. These guys are literal gods, but they can't bring back life. So we also see Gustang heal Bomb, and you know, these guys can do a lot of magical shit, but not revive people. So while everyone is crying, Gustang stays true to what his purpose is, and he wants to collect all the information and get the facts straight. So I mean, that's great. Gustang is just trying to get the fucking facts set straight. He doesn't want to be ignorant to the truth, and that's what he does. So while Li Rang is crying and all these people are mourning, he goes to Traumerei, and Traumerei is in that room that he built for Amy Hughes, which she didn't give a shit about in the first place. And Traumerei has his Kraken out. Why does he have the Kraken? Is there a library in there? Is he reading books again? What the fuck is going on? This is confusing, because this is the same scene we saw where like we had that little flashback where Gustang and Traumerei were talking, and Gustang was blaming him for Amy Hughes' death, rightfully so. But I mean, why the fuck is a Kraken out here? At least we can see that Traumerei has his animals like really developed, at least some of them. I guess not all of them are fully developed, but the Kraken is for sure. He probably uses that as his main animal to kill shit. So after Gustang blames Traumerei for Amyu's death, Traumerei is reminded that even though if he erases a memory, other people will remember, so it's not like he's gonna completely forget. So I guess this is where Traumerei dumps this memory into the Leviathan, and Leviathan is aware of all this shit that's going on. So as we were talking about in the stream, we think there's like 2 sets of memories, like a memory where they feel things, like feel pain, feel love, all that shit, and another set of memories of like this, or personal things that happen to these family leaders. So Traumerei, I think he's gonna deposit these memories into Leviathan, and that's why Leviathan hates him so much, because of, oh, he's a piece of shit. So Gustang is like a detective. I mean, he has the glasses, the suit, he's even like smoking a cigarette. Like, Gustang wants to get to the bottom of this, and he's telling Traumerei, well, before you want to forget your memories, we need to interrogate Enkidu before like you do anything crazy, you know, you kill him or whatever, because they're about to execute him. Like all the leaders agreed that they're gonna fuck Enkidu up and get rid of him, but you know, Gustang wants to get his side of the story first. And Traumerei is like hesitating. He's like, I don't think I can handle it. And Gustang is like, I'll take care of this quickly. And then Traumerei is like, all right, well, I'll accompany you. So Traumerei wants to like accompany Gustang. And I mean, obviously, I mean, when Traumerei is right there, Enkidu can't really say much. Well, because he's right there. I mean, Traumerei kind of like owns him. So before they enter the prison cell where Enkidu is being held, Traumerei says, I need to know why that guy killed Amyus. So Traumerei, like according to Traumerei at this point, he doesn't really understand why he killed Amyus, but all this time Traumerei didn't seem really concerned. Like, I don't know, it's not adding up. Something at Traumerei, I mean, we'll discuss later in the story where we find out, but at this point, it's like Traumerei is not really invested into the investigation. He doesn't even look like he's mourning. He looks like, I don't know, like stoic, like emotionless, like he doesn't care. So Gustang tells Enkidu that if he does not tell the truth of what happened or his side of the story, that he will kill him the most painful way possible. So Gustang is getting ready to torture this guy, and he's saying like no matter what, he can't escape death, because I mean, he committed a huge sin and everyone wants him to die. So Enkidu starts talking, and after this point, this just becomes a whole enigma. Enkidu says that V ordered him to kill Amyus, and like in hopes that creates like a rift between all the family leaders, and it just causes a huge fucking disturbance. So I mean, this automatically does not make much sense, because Enkidu is like sided to Traumerei, and Traumerei starts saying that he's like, that's impossible because you've been by my side all this time. But like, as we know, Amyus has been sending birds out to different people, and like yeah, so she can contact people, and I'm like, this is starting not to make a lot of sense, because Enkidu did warn Traumerei about that. Traumerei didn't really care. I mean, he straight up brought it up to his face, and Traumerei is like, you know what, you're not one of us, just leave us alone, stay out of our business. And I mean, I guess, I don't know, I would like to say it's one of Traumerei's traits where he just wants to see what happens, but I don't know, it's just too obvious. Amyus made it too obvious that she's sending messages to people outside. And I mean, it's true, because these people did come to rescue her, Luslik and some other people. It was that lady and probably another person talking from the pocket. So if Amyus was really contacting these fucking people, she made it really obvious. Like, she did not even try to hide it. So the whole plan was that Enkidu was supposed to be like a double agent, pretty much, like be on Traumerei's side, but at the same time be like on V's side. I don't know what you call that. That's very fucking confusing. But he was supposed to get close to Traumerei, turn into one of these family leaders, kill Amyus, and escape, and like he could create a rift. And he was supposed to escape, according to Enkidu. The plan was for him to escape, but Traumerei stopped him, which, I mean, is not the case. He was just listening to what Traumerei was telling him. He literally took orders straight from Traumerei. Turn into Luzlik. Meet at this island. I'll be there. And they both like, kind of surrounded Emus there. So I think this whole story that Enkidu is trying to say is complete bullshit. It just does not add up. There's too many things that don't make sense, and there's too many like questions in the story to make it believable. Yeah, so Enkidu also says like that is why she followed me so obediently that day. I mean, yeah, this sounds less and less believable because us as the readers, I mean, we saw what happened. I think SIU is just making a shit story right here. It's like really obvious. So I mean, he clarifies that with us, like to not really theorize about this story that Enkidu is telling. This is just a shit story, and I mean, he tries to trick Gustang into believing that, but I mean, it's not really believable after all. So Gustang asked Traumerei for his opinion on the situation, and Traumerei, like, he doesn't straight up say that he believes him, but he says that it's not impossible. So this is Traumerei trying like to stay kind of innocent, to like not sound guilty, and like as we know later on, this makes a little bit more sense. So Traumerei is trying to like put like, weight into the story, make it like, sound legit. And he even says that his frog, which I assume is cobalt before he consumed the 1,000 snakes, he says the frog agrees. Of course, what's the point of this line? He can control the frog. I mean, Traumerei obviously can control animals. He can control his fucking frog. He can make it do flips. He can make it clap its hands. I mean, that has no merit. Of course, the frog's gonna agree with him because it's his animal. So Gustang is kind of like buying this lie or this story that Enkidu is telling him, and Traumerei is like, wow, I never expected this was the truth as well. So, I mean, Traumerei sounds like he already accepted this as fact. He's not even shocked. It was his like girlfriend. Like, if you would think if this guy said all this crazy shit about V and this involves his girlfriend that he was like in love with, he would have a strong reaction. But it looks like Traumerei is trying to push people, or at least Gustang, to believe in this story. Like he brought his frog with him. He used that as like a witness. I don't know. And Traumerei is just trying to wrap it up. He's like, all right, well, we came into a conclusion. I think it's time to kill Enkidu. And Traumerei just leaves. So he just leaves it like that. He leaves Gustang to do the dirty job, to kill Enkidu. And I mean, he says, I don't want to see this dude's face again. So at this point, Gustang is like, all right, I'll kill him for you. And as he's leaving, Enkidu has this demonic face. Like he's making like these creepy ass eyes. This black aura is coming out of him again, like when he's thinking of dark thoughts. And like Enkidu is fucking pissed. So the narrator says that everybody was in favor of killing Enkidu except Gustang. So I guess Gustang's opinion held so much weight, like the opinion of one family leader held so much weight that it was enough to like overturn everyone else's, and like they kind of just trapped him in a sprout. So these family leaders, they are fucking incredible. I don't know if they are just finding these mystical objects in a tower, or if they can just straight up create these things. But Li Rang gets a sprout, like this little tiny sprout, and this thing is going to be growing forever because they have permanent light and permanent water like flowing around the sprout, and it just makes it grow and grow and grow. And they're gonna put Enkidu's head in there, like in the center of it, very deep inside, and it's just, yeah, it's just gonna keep growing until like it makes it almost impossible to find. And since this thing was gonna keep growing forever, eventually someone casted a spell on it. So in this dark silhouette, it looks like someone with long hair and a dress, possibly a female. So yeah, I got no idea who that might be. Maybe it's Li Rang, but they didn't say it was. I don't know why they would hide it if it was Li Rang. But yeah, someone stopped the sprout from growing. And that is it. That is the end of Gustang's memories from the book. So it looks like these are only memories from the book, but not so fast, because we learn that the reason Gustang preserved Enkidu's life and that he did not vote to kill Enkidu was because of the final words Enkidu said. Enkidu said that it was not him who killed Emus, but it was Traumerei who controlled him and made him kill Emmy's. And he justified this by saying that in order for him to gain the blessing of the administrator, he had like the restriction of being able to kill anyone but the 10 great family leaders and I guess their companions, which I guess includes like Emmy's and you know, the original people who accomplished the tower. And Gustang's final thought was that if it was not Enkidu who killed Emmy's, then it was probably Traumerei. And that is where the chapter ends, and that is where this flashback ends as a whole, because now we're back in the present. Next chapter, we're going to be back in the present. So yeah, that is a lot to take in. Like, take a moment to let all that shit soak in, because we're going to be theory crafting like crazy right now. So first of all, Traumerei after this chapter is a complete fucking asshole. This guy, he doesn't feel bad for what he did. I mean, look at him in the last panel. He just has a straight face. Like, he doesn't feel bad. He doesn't feel any emotions. He's used to that. Like, he doesn't give a shit. So if what Enkidu is saying is true, it would make a lot of sense, because Traumerei, like, he could have stopped Enkidu from killing Emmy's. Like, that didn't make sense that he like just kind of just watched that happen. I mean, especially as someone he loved. And then that would make sense because he needed a scapegoat. He needed someone to put the blame on, and Enkidu is like the easiest person that he can get a hold of. So yeah, like, he was able to trick Emmy's to thinking that she was with Luslik, and like they were able to go somewhere far away from everyone else. And Traumerei gave Enkidu the directions and he told him what to do. And I mean, Traumerei just took care of business after he found out 100% that Emmy's is not on board with him. And like, he just wanted to find out the truth, like, right away. Like, he just wanted to confirm that she did not want to be with him at all before he made this final decision. So there are a few problems with like Enkidu's story. So he says he's not human, and like, this is where you gotta think a lot, which is good, because I mean, Tower God has a lot of layers of context and depth and a lot of shit you gotta think about. So Headon had Enkidu, like, well, the blob, I should say, he had him possess a beast skin like creature. I'm still confused with the human. Like, what the fuck is a human? I think that creature that he possessed, the Enkidu creature, was like more of a beast skin. So I mean, I can see Traumerei being able to control that. During the stream, Nya did say that SIU put in one of his blog posts that Traumerei's control ability was so powerful that he can control humans. But you know, as you know, SIU kind of like deleted those blog posts, so we don't even know if they're canon anymore. But I mean, if that remains true, then I mean, even though Enkidu might be human, might not be human, and Traumerei could control him. I mean, we didn't really see Enkidu get controlled. He, like, not directly, not like how he had Yasracha kind of like have his body move on his own. But I mean, we did see Enkidu's thoughts manifest, how he was thinking of all these dark things, how Traumerei was getting hurt because of Emmy's. So it's a very sticky situation. I'm not 100% sure what I want to place my bets on at this point. And then we quickly saw Traumerei like kind of take the situation in his own hands, like right away. Like, before Enkidu could say anything, he beheaded him. It's like he had this whole thing orchestrated, and Traumerei is just trying to cover himself up. So what I'm thinking is, from here on out, I remember Gustang, he said that he will not do anything to Traumerei until he learns if he is like, if he deserves to fucking die. Like, that's the only reason he didn't use a bracelet to kill Traumerei at that point. So I think at this point in the present, when we get back to the next chapter, fucking Gustang is going to kick Traumerei's ass and use that bracelet to breach the spell of immortality and just obliterate him. And I mean, I think the book did say that after reading this, like, he will rain destruction of the tower. And I think, yeah, well, Traumerei, I think going against Traumerei is going to cause a rift, and it's going to get Jihad and all these family leaders involved. And if Traumerei dies, that is a big fucking deal, and that is when big problems start to happen. So during the stream, we were also discussing like whose memories are we seeing, and like it says it's Traumerei's past, and a lot of these things are very personal to Traumerei. Like some of these things Gustang does not even know about. So how the fuck did he document these? So that's a question in its own. We thought that these were Leviathan's memories, but as you see, Gustang is only extracting the memories from the book. We don't see Leviathan at all being extracted from Bomb. Like SAU, this is a combination of both Leviathan and the book. Like Gustang getting memories from both. SAU should have, like, you know, put Leviathan's little dragon body around the papers and made it clear that this is Leviathan's memories as well, being meshed in like together. So some of this does not make sense. I don't know how Gustang documented all this personal shit in Traumerei's life, but I mean, he somehow knows all this, and I'm wondering now if he regrets trying to kill Enkidu. In his head, he probably thinks Enkidu's dead, well, because like he literally burned him to smithereens and he barely made it. If it wasn't for Goro, Enkidu would have fucking died. And yeah, so I wonder if Gustang, if he was just acting rash, like if he was acting like if Enkidu was just a disposable object, and like he was like, oh well, I could just get my memories other places. But I mean, he still doesn't know the truth 100%. Enkidu's still important here. He could still torture him, get more memories out, get the truth out. I mean, he didn't really try. He just took his word at the very end. And Enkidu, I mean, I don't know. This guy, he already lied about V. He could be lying about some details about Traumerei too. Oh, another thing I wanted to point out was when they were interrogating, like Traumerei and Gustang were interrogating Enkidu. What stops Traumerei from controlling Enkidu, from like telling Gustang what he wants to tell him? Like Traumerei could have been controlling Enkidu all that time, like, and you know, like telling Gustang what he wants to be told. That's also a thing. Traumerei's, you know, if he can control him, why couldn't he control him during an interrogation? So I guess that's why, like in the last chapter, or the last two chapters, I think, Traumerei brought up the point that he cannot control Enkidu. Like he kind of lied to his companions about that. So like that, they couldn't like put those pieces together. So it's either Traumerei is lying about that, or like Enkidu is an animal, like he's a beast skin. I don't know. This shit is so confusing. But I mean, if Enkidu did get controlled by Traumerei, then that means that he was lying, that he could not control him. So I guess this shows that you really cannot take anything these characters really say as word, like as truth to the story, because they could be lying. I didn't know if Traumerei was lying. I would have never expected Traumerei to lie to these guys. Like, what the fuck? Traumerei's so not cool. He's so shady. I think him and Jihad, man, they're best buddies. I mean, it's been shown in the story that they are best buddies, but God, man, these guys are super fucking twisted. They got a lot of things in common. Like Traumerei, he killed AMUs out of spite. Like really, if this is true, which there's a lot of things that still need to be put together. Well, there's a lot of rereading I need to do too. Like I need to see that ghost that Traumerei saw in the library. I need to see Enkidu's dialogue again when he saw Gustang. I'm gonna do research right now after I finish this little mini voiceover segment. Well, like what I was saying earlier, him and Jihad have a lot in common. Like they both make a big deal over like being rejected. Traumerei literally killed AMUs for rejecting him pretty much and leaving him, disrespecting him. And Jihad threw a big piss party on Arlene's floor. I think it was the 44th floor, right? The floor of death, where I think Bomb was born. And he was like disgracing her because, you know, she rejected him. And yeah, that's where Enryu came in. So these guys, they have a lot in common. And of course, they're doing their little experiments. So yeah, it makes sense that they get along and that they do some shit like this. And like, you know, they're in cahoots. So it looks like Traumerei and Jihad are like working together to manipulate these family leaders and like hiding things, killing people. yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's going on behind the scenes. So I think Jihad is the one that's like doing the main manipulation. Like Jihad is the real asshole here. And I mean, it's Traumerei's fault too, but Jihad knows what he's doing. He just wants complete control over everybody, and he just wants things to flow the same way they're flowing so he can keep his position as king, and you know, he doesn't have to deal with any problems. Kind of wish we got the Leviathan memories, or we saw what Traumerei did with Leviathan. I'm pretty sure, I mean, he put this chunk of memories with AMUs inside Leviathan. But I don't think we're gonna get more details from Traumerei for a while, because I mean, this is a very rare lore chapter. So I mean, this is like, you know, it never happens, and I don't know when we're gonna get another lore chapter. I think from here on out it's gonna be a family leader battle. These guys, I mean, especially Gustang, he's no longer ignorant. He's gonna fucking try to kill Traumerei because he knows the truth, or at least he knows most of it. He's probably gonna regret killing Enkidu, because he probably thinks he killed Enkidu, and if he finds him, he's gonna interrogate him. All right guys, so I am back from reading like a bunch of chapters, and I collected the ones with critical information. And I mean, I can confirm, it's been said multiple times by like Rachel and like other people, that Enkidu is indeed an animal. He's been referred to as an animal slash creature. So I do think that like Headon specifically chose that specific person, the Enkidu, original body of Enkidu, to be the host, because well, he's an animal and Traumerei can control that. And Headon probably figured that Traumerei being able to control such a being with flexibility, able to turn into other people and like do all this crazy shit, would cause a fucking disruptance between him and the family leaders. So yeah, Headon was right to specifically choose this body for Enkidu. So I'm gonna start off with chapter 581. This is one of the more interesting chapters because, well, this is where Traumerei and Gustang are talking about the memories, and Traumerei at this point, he's pretty much saying, well, it doesn't matter what happened in the past, it doesn't matter like what the regulars are doing, as long as our relationship between us family leaders and Jihad stays intact and we are all like, you know, in good terms, more or less, there's no disruptance, like we'll be fine. Everything else doesn't matter. We can just live in peace and just have harmony. Well, I guess not harmony, but stability ruling the tower. And I mean, Gustang said that like he originally agreed with that, but it's after a while, after Rachel and Bob, which they refer to as the irregulars, after they came in and, you know, went in the floor of death, all that shit, that Gustang, he had the ambition to figure out what happened, and he states that he does hate being ignorant to the past. Another interesting point that Gustang brings up is that he doesn't exactly know why they stopped climbing the tower, which I mean, we already know, but he brought up like two reasons why, like possible reasons. One is that they were like kind of afraid of what was up there, which I originally thought was like what was going on. Like probably they saw that it was getting too difficult, or the games were getting like, I don't know, too sketchy, like they would have to go individually instead of as teams, or the administrators put, I don't know, like a bunch of restrictions, or you know, it just got really complicated, really dangerous, really risky, and it just wasn't worth climbing anymore. Or if they just chose complacency and didn't want to climb and settle and just, you know, flourish the floors they already claimed, and like populate them, have their ranker system set up so people have something to strive for, you know, establish kind of a government in these floors. So as I was saying earlier, that Gustang is gonna go kick Traumerei's ass. In this same chapter 581, Gustang talks about the bracelet a little bit, and he says that it has the power to kill the 10 family leaders and Jihad. So what I'm thinking is this bracelet is kind of the drawback for having the immortality spell of the family leaders. And well, yeah, like they are immortal, so the administrators never really let anything go without a drawback. Like Even earlier we learned that Enkidu's I think his immortality or something, or his death sentences, that they were restricted by him not being allowed to kill the family leaders or their companions. So the administrators always have something to take back if they give you a blessing. And I think this bracelet was one of those curses, I guess, or those costs that the administrators put upon the regulars. And like, to make sure they don't get the bracelet so easily, the administrator put it on the hidden floor. But I guess Jihad had the liberty to have himself guard it. And like, since he's Data Jihad, I mean, he is strong as fuck. So it's not like anybody would really get it in the first place. But I mean, still, it is there. It's like kind of a casualty that can catch up to them eventually. And I think this was one of Jihad's biggest fears, because he himself personally went in there after like Bomb and his friends, they kind of like broke the hidden floor. He tried to retrieve it, but Gustang's little stingray got it before him. So yeah, I think this this bracelet, this was kind of one of those nightmares that Jihad did not want to come out, and that caused Jihad to wage war against the Pobedel family. So I would also like to say in this chapter, like, President Traumerei's mindset is he like doesn't care what happened in the past. Like, if people are trying to disrupt the peace between the family leaders, he's going to do everything in his power to kill them. I mean, that's what he says. So no matter what happened in the past, Traumerei does not give a shit. I mean, we'll see what happens if Enkidu or Gustang reveal the truth to him, if he still thinks like that, or maybe Gustang just doesn't give a shit and he just wants to flat out kill Traumerei because he deserves it. In chapter 588, Rachel and Hwaryun are about to go to the Sprout, while Hwaryun is guiding Rachel to the Sprout. And I mean, Rachel is like getting a little pissed off with Hwaryun, and she calls Enkidu an animal, like a real animal. So I mean, that's where I got this this name for Enkidu. So these are just, this is repeated, it's not like a translation thing. And this is where Hwaryun said that she was supposed to take Bomb. So I guess Bomb was supposed to learn from Enkidu about these memories about what happened, because well, in one of these other chapters it says Bomb is the only one worthy of learning about these memories. So this is probably where Bomb was supposed to go, since he does also have the power of the irregulars to open the little cube that was blocking Enkidu. And well, I thought he was gonna absorb Enkidu, but at this point I think it's just getting the truth out, because Bomb is the only one worthy of knowing the truth of the tower. In chapter 589, this is where Traumerei kind of gets answers for the book, and it talks about Icarus. And as we know, well, a little refresher is that Icarus kind of looked up to V, and she referred to him as a human. And she also said that she will never be an equal to him, and like it looks like she's kind of in love with him. So at this point, I don't think Icarus is Arlene, because human seems like it means irregular. And I mean, Icarus, it looks like she was just a regular climbing along these irregulars. So yeah, I don't know who Icarus is at this point. Considering this is Traumerei reading these memories, I think I possibly could be Amy Hughes, but she's dead. So there's really not much to go off anymore with Icarus / Amy Hughes. Like why Amy Hughes got the alias of Icarus. Yeah, so this Icarus theory is still out there. We have no idea how and what it has to do with Rachel. But somehow has to do something with Traumerei, because these memories that Traumerei's are reading from Gustang's library have to do with him. Chapter 595 is where Gustang starts reading the book, only to find out the contents are not there. And in the book, he writes to himself that he is not worthy of knowing the truth because he committed the sin of rewriting history. So I think ever since Gustang heard that from Enkidu, I mean, it's been bothering him, and it just wouldn't leave him alone, and he probably felt powerless against like the other family leaders in Jihad, especially after V died. Like, there's nothing he can really do. And I think that spark with the irregulars coming into the tower, in other words, like Bomb and Rachel, that kind of gave him hope that he can just kill these people, kill Traumerei, kill Jihad, since they have the power to do that. And the god of the tower, or Headon, whoever is controlling this shit, they sent these people to give these people judgment. And the most important line in this little book that Gustang read, while the little information he had left, is that all 13 of them are sinners. So every single one of these family leaders committed a sin. So in Gustang's case, it is rewriting history. So he probably fabricated some stuff out of like fear for his life, or maybe he didn't want anything to bad happen to Blossom, or maybe he did it for N. He did something. He rewrote history. He lied, which, I mean, he's not that type of person, as we can see. He's someone who wants to discover the truth. So he kind of went against who he was, and that is a big sin for him. But yeah, just to clarify, all 13 of these guys, they are sinners, and nobody's pure, not even V. So right after Gustang gets that information from the book, Traumerei gets to answer for his book, and it is Dazzling Stars in the Sky. So of course, like, this kind of refers back to what's her name, Amy Hughes, and kind of Rachel at the same time. Like, Amy Hughes always looked at the sky, the fake sky, but she really just wanted to look at the real sky. And I mean, Rachel too, she wants to look at the stars. And so the door opens, and the silhouette we see, it is indeed Enkidu. There's a full shot, like a faraway shot. You can see the cube and Enkidu's face in there, and then the close-up, you kind of see Enkidu's head and the horns. So yeah, and Enkidu says that you failed to remember me. So I think these books, or the whole purpose of this, was like to give Traumerei fragments of his memory back, but like not the whole thing. So I think this whole thing was just dedicated to Traumerei, and Gustang specifically chose things for Traumerei to remember, but of course he did not get the full collection of memories. So that's another reason why Amy Hughes could potentially be Icarus, but it's just up in the air at this point. In chapter 602, at the very beginning, this is where Belrire starts telling Traumerei about Enkidu, and we get that brief little flashback that we see in this current chapter 621, that, well, Traumerei has Kraken out and Gustang is blaming him for Amy Hughes' death. And it's interesting because Amy Hughes' name is like blacked out here, so I guess this is Traumerei remembering a little bit of what happened, but he doesn't remember who died. I mean, Gustang doesn't know either, so that's why they're trying to crack down like what happened here. So this is also the thing that Traumerei has been tormented by, because I remember the very first chapter where SAU came back in hiatus, I think it was 550. Traumerei was talking with Jihad, and he was telling him that he keeps having nightmares and he keeps remembering something or someone that keeps tormenting him. And Jihad even asked him, are you having nightmares? And Traumerei's like, yeah, I keep having these nightmares. So this is a nightmare he was having. It was about Enkidu. And Jihad probably does not want Traumerei to really remember what Enkidu was, because then that's when, you know, things start turning sour or south for Jihad, and he starts losing control over these family leaders if they find out the truth. And once again, Belrire refers to Enkidu as an animal. So it's already been stated several times that Enkidu is indeed an animal, which means Traumerei can control him. So in chapter 603, this is where like Rachel and Hwaryun open the door where Enkidu is resting. And so what I'm thinking here is that only worthy people are allowed to come into Sprout and open this door. In other words, irregulars. And Rachel is worthy, but she is so goddamn fucking weak. She needs the bracelet to like use the power of the irregulars to open the door. Like, that's how weak she is. Like, Bomb could open this thing with just his palm, but Rachel needs a whole goddamn bracelet, a replica of the bracelet, to open this door. So that I mean, that's pretty embarrassing. But I mean, nonetheless, she is an irregular. She just does not have the talent like Bomb. So this is where we see Enkidu, and once again, they call him an animal. And Enkidu, I mean, obviously, if you guys remember how he looks so much different from like young Enkidu. This guy looks old as fucking shit. He looks withered, old, worn down. And that stuff coming out of his neck, I thought that was like arteries and veins, like that, the remaining flesh from his neck. It's actually his hair. I'm pretty sure it's his hair, but he's gone like bald. I think he's balding too. So God, this guy is like old as fucking shit now. I mean, his skin is all like old as well. I mean, anyway, yeah, so he changed a lot. I think it's because he didn't get like the eternal youth from the fountain or whatever that the rankers get, and they stay young forever. Kind of like that one guy that didn't choose to become a ranker, even though he was able to. The one guy that taught Baum some stuff, like how to master his powers, and you know, kind of rewriting how he manifests them, I guess, like how he bursts out the thorn. Yeah, so Enkidu, old as fucking shit. He's obviously been in here for so many years, locked up in his slumber. He's been in jail all this time, like for fucking tens of thousands of years. So yeah, this guy, he's screaming, he's old, he's pissed, he doesn't know what else to do, he's in shock, he's like probably remembering everything that's happened. In chapter 604, this is where Gustang and Enkidu start to talk, and where Gustang tries to pretty much get rid of Enkidu by killing him and burning him away. And like, this is where the dialogue is pretty important. So Gustang says that Traumerei is here, and that triggers Enkidu. And Gustang says he once considered him a friend. So yeah, I mean, it looks like Enkidu really was Traumerei's best friend. He really tried to be there for Traumerei, only for him to get used and thrown out pretty much, because Traumerei even gave Gustang the permission to kill him, to save his own ass pretty much. So he did use Enkidu as a scapegoat, but I'll get to that in the conclusions of my theories. So Enkidu is like pausing here. He's like, my friend, my enemy. So that's the last thing Enkidu remembers. He remembers being betrayed by Traumerei, completely fucked over, and he just hates this guy to no end, probably more than Leviathan. So in chapter 605, this is where Enkidu starts like questioning this thing, like, what are you talking about? You're making it seem like you're talking about a stranger. And you know, this is where Enkidu is barely putting it together that Gustang doesn't know shit, that these guys are living in ignorance, and Gustang is probably just using him again, like Traumerei did for shit. Like, Enkidu is fucking tired of being used by these people and just treated like shit. So he's making fun of him. He's like, what do you mean you don't remember what happened that day? And did you really forget? Like, how could you forget something that important? So Enkidu's telling them that they call him a monster, they banish him, they do all this shit to Enkidu, when like Enkidu remembers that he told Gustang the truth, that Traumerei controlled him, yet they fucking screw him over. So Enkidu, rightfully so, is pissed. He is fucking pissed off at Gustang and all these ignorant pieces of shit family leaders for doing this to him and locking him up when they are hypocrites, and they choose to remain ignorant and even go out of their way to store these memories about Enkidu and Amy Hughes, so nobody remembers it at all. And Gustang, I mean, he does something really stupid. He tries to kill Enkidu without even knowing what happened, just because his ego is that big. And I think this is one of the fucking main flaws of the family leaders. They are so arrogant, and they think they are so godlike that they just don't care. And they even though Gustang wants to find out the truth, he is literally killing the truth right in front of him. So this is, Enkidu's right. These guys are fucking clowns. They go against, they contradict themselves. Like, what the fuck is wrong with Gustang here? And I'm pretty sure after reading the book, he regrets killing Enkidu like right away. Even though he didn't know Enkidu survived, he thinks he killed him. Lastly, in chapter 615, which was pretty recent, I just want to talk about Enkidu's blessing. So he says that he cannot be killed by anyone in the tower except Traumerei and the great pioneers, which he further emphasizes are the family leaders. So nobody can kill him except the family leaders. However, with the death they deserve thing, like his second power where he gets to kill people, he said only the pioneers cannot be killed, which the pioneers, I am assuming, are the people who first got to the top of the tower. So I guess that includes Amy Hughes, the family leaders, and some of these other people that got to the top. It doesn't say anything about family leaders, just the great pioneers. So, I mean, if we're reading it word for word, that's what it says. So if this is true, that means, yeah, Enkidu's right. He's not lying. He cannot kill Amy Hughes because she is one of the pioneers. That was a lot of research. So, I mean, that's all the, well, those are the most important chapters I found. There's probably a few more I gotta look over, but relating to these flashbacks, that's what's most relevant so far. It's very interesting to see how Enkidu aged over the years, and like how much resentment he holds. Like, he fucking hates these family leaders, and he's gonna go join the boss and all these guys, at least it looks like, to kill them because they locked him up. I mean, he didn't do anything wrong. It was Traumerei who controlled him, and even though he told Gustang the truth, he still got locked up. Gustang could have kind of vouched for him, but instead he had him prisoner for fucking eons, man. That guy was like, look at him, he looks like shit. So what did we learn? Well, Traumerei is a big fucking liar. God, I believed everything that guy said, but man, he was even lying to his friends. Enkidu's human. I thought he was human. I don't know what the fuck a human is. I don't know. I have been confused about a human all this time. I thought since Enkidu was a blob, like, that's just like nothing, but apparently he is a beast skin. Well, at least an animal, because that's what Headon told him to possess. So I guess that makes him, like, that's his main soul. Traumerei, well, he committed atrocious sins, and it doesn't look like this is the first time he did something like this. Like, remember, Amy said good luck because things don't usually end well when Traumerei has his little test subjects, and of course this did not end well, and it looks like Traumerei used Enkidu as a scapegoat. So what I think happened in interrogation is Traumerei was like controlling Enkidu to tell Gustang like this whole fucking story, and like, yeah, he was just controlling him. Like, that's why he wanted to be there. He was sitting down to just make sure Enkidu told him what he wanted Gustang like to hear. So as soon as Traumerei left and he took his frog, he put his trust in Gustang that he was going to clean out Enkidu, and that's when he was no longer controlling him. And that's when the real Enkidu came back with like the darkness surrounding him, and he muttered the truth to Gustang. So after that, I think like Gustang just kind of looked bad because he was the only one vouching to imprison Enkidu instead of killing him. Out of all the family leaders, including Traumerei, this guy was the only one who voted to keep him imprisoned. And yeah, so I wonder how they would have thought of Gustang. Maybe people hate Gustang because of that. Maybe Blossom broke up with Gustang because he wanted to keep this monster that did this atrocious sin alive. And I wonder if Traumerei got suspicious of Gustang too, because he's the only one. Like, he was the only one who interrogated Enkidu, and he's the only one who wants to keep him alive. So maybe Traumerei doesn't care. Maybe he didn't think too much about it. Maybe he thought he could get away with it. But it's gonna come to bite him in the ass when President Gustang uses that watch to kill him. So other things in this chapter that I want to discuss is like, who is this lady that was infiltrating Traumerei's palace, or I guess sneaking in? I don't know. Arlene? Icarus? I don't know who the fuck this lady is. I don't even know where to start with guessing who this is. So let me know in the comments, who the fuck is this lady? As soon as she saw or heard that, you know, these family leaders were like getting all riled up with AMUs and shit, she fled. And well, I don't know what happened to Luzlik. I don't know where Luzlik is. I hope we get some updates on him. Was he prisoner? Is he being like tortured to get information about V? And what did everybody believe this lie that Enkidu told, or I guess Traumerei told? I'm thinking Traumerei told. He controlled Enkidu to tell shit about V, so he could put all the blame on V, because I mean that's like the best person they could blame and get away with, and it won't sound suspicious. So in conclusion, Traumerei is a complete dick. This guy, he manipulated everybody, him and Jihad. They manipulated everybody to forget these memories or to store them in, like, I don't know, their own methods. And Traumerei is getting his way, and he's getting away scot-free. So this guy, man, this guy, this is all over him being like, well, AMU's betraying him pretty much. And I mean, Yeah, it sucks how Amy's did that, but like he went through such extents, and I mean I can see where Amy's is coming from. He's doing these twisted experiments with these people. He's mixing people with like animals. I guess that's how the beast skins came to life, and he can control them. Like you see all these laboratory experiments, twisted things like that fucking monster we saw with a tentacle head and tentacles coming out of his arms and back. Like man, these are weird freaking things, and Jihad is in that too. So AMU's found out the truth. I think now that I think about it, I think that's why Traumerei killed her because she knows what they've been doing. She knows that Jihad and Traumerei are doing this shit, this breeding stuff, and they're experimenting on people on the regulars. And she knew too much. She knew too much. She's been around Traumerei's lab, and she found out. And I mean that is unacceptable. Traumerei's secret cannot be revealed, so she had to be fucking killed. So I don't think it was 100% because of the like rejection, I guess, but a large portion of it has to do with Traumerei's link with Jihad. He doesn't want Jihad to be upset that people know about their experiments, and that also like he doesn't want to be exposed like that way. So yeah, those I think those are the two main reasons why he killed Amy Hughes, because he got betrayed, like she dumped him, like in one of the worst ways possible, and because of his secrets with Jihad. Wow, this was an insane chapter. I have to say, this is like the best chapter of Tower of God ever. Like, holy shit, this chapter turned Traumerei from you know, kind of feeling for him to just completely hating him. Traumerei, God, I don't know how many times I said it. Traumerei's a fucking asshole. I hope I got all my thoughts out. Man, that was a lot of thinking I had to do. I haven't thought about a chapter or done such an in-depth review in so long, or I think ever. This is probably my first in-depth review I've ever done. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know your theories. Is Traumerei really an asshole? Is Enkidu lying? I mean, he lied about the V thing. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of fucking loose ends in that don't make sense. I think Traumerei was controlling him to tell that to Gustang. Enkidu, all he wanted to do was be his friend. This guy just wanted to be his friend, but we know Traumerei did tell Kieran that he likes to use people. Like he's like, you know me, I like to use people, and that's what he did. He used Enkidu to kill Amy Hughes, dispose of her, and he disposed of Enkidu. He didn't care at all if Enkidu died. He just used him and threw him away. And that's what Traumerei is known for. He always does things like that. The only thing is that Traumerei killed this girl that he was in love with. And, well, that shit's like kind of unforgivable, especially since Amy Hughes was like close with all these family leaders. I'm surprised Lee Rang didn't do as much investigation, like similar to Gustang. She kind of just mourned and cried, but other than that, I mean, she did make the sprout too, but like she didn't really investigate. Gustang is the one who's uncovering the truth and getting all the facts straight. He's putting in all the effort. And I mean, even though like Traumerei did say that he was going to capture Amy Hughes right in front of him, he didn't do shit. So if Gustang knew that something was going to happen with Amy Hughes, that Traumerei is speaking right in front, that he wants to capture her, how come he didn't really act if he's like so like he wants to know the truth? And how come fucking Edhun was chasing after Amy Hughes too? Like what, these guys are gonna help Traumerei capture her, but then they feel bad that she died. Like they're kind of hypocrites. That doesn't make much sense. Like, do they want to oppress Amy Hughes and capture her for Traumerei to like tell her something or what? I don't know. They're kind of contradicting themselves there. But overall, the main message of the chapter was received. Traumerei is really sick guy. He's him and Jihad. They both have fucking moral compass way off the charts. They don't feel any sympathy or empathy for anybody in the tower, even their fellow companions that they climbed with. If they kill someone, they just find a way to like get rid of the truth. And I think that's how they got rid of these memories. Nobody remembers who like Enkidu is or who Amy Hughes is, and they just covered it up, and they all live in ignorance. That was an insanely long review. I hope I didn't fuck up any of these voiceovers. I hope I didn't like repeat myself and then like, fuck up a take and then I just left it in there. I'll try to check, but god damn it, I'm so tired and I want to get this thing uploaded already. So yeah, without much more to say, like let me know what you guys think in the comments. Let me know what do you think of these theories I brought up, or does this add up? What do you think of all information we've learned so far about Traumerei, the 13 great sinners, and Enkidu? Well, put your theories down below in the comments as well. And with all that said, thank you so much for watching this 1 hour special review. We don't get chapters this juicy. This one was just one of a kind. This is a 10 out of 10. Best chapter ever. Man, this thing deserved a whole fucking hour dedicated to it. So yeah, thanks for watching everyone. I hope you stuck by to the end, and I will see you in the next review.